Let's take a few minutes and show you guys how to get this installed and how to use everything with it. So the first thing I'm done, and you probably already know this, you probably found this video on this page, but I've headed over to github.com/km4ack /pi-display. Once we get to this page, and it just looks like this here, we're going to scroll down until we find the install section. This is super easy to get installed. We just want to copy everything that's in this installation box right here. And let's go ahead and minimize the browser, and in the terminal window, we'll just right click and paste that command. Go ahead and press return. Takes just a couple of seconds to get it installed. Now there is one dependency that we do need to get installed to go along with this. I'm just going to clear that screen and let's run sudo apt update. Press return. Give this just a second to update your repository packages. Now that everything is up to date, let's clear the screen again, and we're going to run sudo apt install -y space pandoc, P-A-N-D-O-C. Go ahead and press return here. Now, I've already got this installed, so it's going to tell me that the latest is, Now I've already got this installed, so it just tells me that I've got the latest version, but you will need to install this on your system in order for everything to work correctly. Now, right out of the gate, this will work because there are some sample files that are included with the package. So we can run it with the following command. We'll use the $sign forward We'll use the $sign /pi-display /./pi-display. Go ahead and press return, and you'll see that it tells you it's going to start in 3 or 4 seconds, whatever the countdown is. And it will go ahead and start playing through the slideshow. Now, again, this is stuff that I have included as sample files for you to use right out of the gate. This one here on the screen now is a PDF. It'll do JPEGs, it'll do movies, it'll do HTML files, it'll do basic text files. So you can watch it kind of cycle through each of these that I've included as a sample. Now, in order to get this to stop, you want to go back to the terminal window and press Control-C, and that will stop the slideshow and shut everything down. Now, let's take a quick second to show you how you can manually add stuff to the slideshow. Go ahead and open your file browser up. Once you get your file browser open, click into the /pi-display directory. If you want something to run inside the display, first thing you need to do is go into the files directory and drop whatever it is here, whether it's a PDF, an HTML, PNG, or a basic text file. Once you've got that file in this files directory, let's go back to the main /pi-display directory, and we're going to look at this links file here. So I'm just going to right click on that and say open in a text editor. Inside of this, you will see file names. So just like this, dyk2.jpg. That's a file that's going to be displayed. The number you see after the comma is how long that particular file will be displayed before it moves on to the next slide. So as a default in the sample, everything is set to 5 seconds. But let's assume that you wanted this one set to 25 seconds. You could just change this to 25, and now that dyk2.jpg would stay on the screen for 25 seconds. If you want to add a new file, you can just come down to the bottom, or you can put it anywhere in this list. But we just need to add the new file name. So that's whatever file you have dropped into that file's directory. So it would be new file dot, say JPG, comma, so it would be something like new file.jpg, comma, and then the time that you wanted that to display. You do need a blank line at the end of this file in order for the last item on the list to be displayed, so keep that thought in mind. And now if you save this file, assuming that new file.jpg is in that file's directory, it would be displayed during the slideshow. Now, I obviously don't have that file in here, so I'm just going to delete that one and save this file out. Now there are a couple of extra files in the PyDisplay directory that we can utilize. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the PyDisplay directory with cd space py-display. Let's clear that screen and list out those commands. You'll see this one here, weather report, and this one here, markdown. Those two specifically are the ones that I want to take a look at real quick. And we're going to look at the weather report first. So if you're in the PyDisplay directory, you can just start that with /weather report and go ahead and press return. And it's just going to ask you about the current conditions for right now, tonight, and tomorrow. So we'll say the current temperature is 53 degrees, and we'll give it a F for Fahrenheit. It's going to ask me what weather image I want to use, and you'll see this in just a minute. I'll go and show you guys how this looks at the end. Right now at my location, it is cloudy, so I can just enter a C for cloudy right here. If you were using clear skies, you would enter CL, and then the others. Or you can use any of the others that are listed here. So we'll just use cloudy in this case. So I'll enter C, and then it's going to ask me for the forecast for today. And I'm just going to say mostly cloudy. High of 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to repeat this process again for tonight and for tomorrow. So I'm going to just go ahead and quickly enter this information. Once you've gone through that, once you've gone through and you've answered the questions for each of those, it'll tell you that it's generating an HTML file and it's moving that file to the PyDisplay directory. So let's go ahead and go back to that PyDisplay directory real quick. And we're going to go ahead and open up the files, and you'll see this weather.html file that it has created. Now, one thing to note is you can add a file in the middle of the slideshow and it will pick it up the next time through. But let's go ahead and take a look at this weather.html file. and you'll see that it gives us a graphical representation of what the current weather is, depending on which of those icons you chose. And then whatever you type in the description is listed down there below it. So just a quick and easy way to update the forecast. You can run that script again, and it will just replace this file that you generated the first time through. Next, I want to show you the markdown script. So if we just type // again, inside this PyDisplay directory, we're just going to type // markdown. Go ahead and press return. And it's going to ask you to give this page that you're creating a file name, or if you have already created a file, you can enter that file name and edit it. If you're not sure what files are on the system, you can put a question mark right here and press enter, and it will give you a list of the current files that are on the system. Keep in mind, anytime you're using Linux, all of your file names are case sensitive. So don't enter the wrong case or you will end up with the wrong file. Let's just go ahead and call this one test video. Let's just go ahead and call this one test for video. Go ahead and press return. It's going to ask me for a header for this page. So we'll just, let's say Winter Field Day 2023 will be the header for the page. Next, it's going to open up the Nano editor so that I can type the contents of this page. Now, this does support the Markdown language. If you're unfamiliar with Markdown, go back to the GitHub page and there is a link to a Markdown cheat sheet that you can take a look at. But let's create a quick schedule for Winter Field Day. Once you've got this filled out, you can press Control S to save and Control X to exit. Now, again, if you're not familiar with the Markdown language, you may be kind of wondering what all of these pound symbols are at the beginning. Go ahead and check the Markdown cheat sheet and it will explain it to you. But basically, 2 pound signs makes this text bigger than if you put 3 pound signs in front of it. So you'll see that kind of too on the page here in just a second. But I'm going to go ahead and press Control S to save this and Control X to exit out of it. The next thing it's going to ask me is how many seconds should this page be displayed. We'll just tell it 10 seconds and go ahead and press return. Now, a lot of this is designed so that you can set up the PyDisplay and then manage it remotely, maybe through an SSH connection. So just keep that in mind. But that has been been generated. And one thing about this particular script here is it does go ahead and modify that links and add your information to it from the web page you just created. So back here in the PyDisplay directory, we're in the files directory. You'll see that test for video.html, and that's the file that we just created. So I'm just going to double click on that so it'll open up. And you'll see the information that we provided, that schedule that we wrote out just a second ago. So a quick and easy way to get a web page up and running without having to jump through a lot of steps. Now, I do want to show you guys another way that you could do this, because you may find this next way easier, or you may have something that's a bit more complicated and you need a way to work it out and get everything on the page the way you want it. This time we're going to be using LibreOffice. To generate the document. Just like before, I have simply typed it out. Now the nice thing about this is you get a slick little GUI interface, so you can make the text bigger or smaller. You can add images to this page. You can do all kinds of things. Basically anything you can do inside the word processor, we can get displayed as in the PyDisplay system. So once you've created your document here, you just want to come up to File and Export. It's Export As, and click on the PDF file. You can play around with some of these PDF options if you'd like. I don't need to do that right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Export. And then we do need to give this file a name. So we'll call this Winterfield Day 2023, and that's it. It'll add the .pdf for us. So once we've got that, we can just click Export. Now, let's minimize the LibreOffice. Here's the files that we've got in our PyDisplay, so I'm going to leave that right over here, and I'm going to open up another File Explorer window. And I want to go over and take a look at Documents, and you'll find that PDF file that we just created. If I double click on that, it'll open it up and show it to you in the Chromium browser. And using LibreOffice to create these documents takes a little bit longer. There's a few more steps, but you do get more control than if you just use that Markdown script that generates the files based on Markdown. So let's take this. If that was one we just created, we could go ahead and drag it over here. Now, it is in the Files directory, but we do need to add that to the links list. So that's all caps WFD 2023.pdf. So if we go back one directory, we find the links again. So I'm going to right click on that and say open with text editor. And then down here at the very bottom, we're going to type Winterfield Day 2023.pdf, and we want that one to open for 10 seconds as well. Now notice up here above this, we've got these two other lines, weather.html and testforvideo.html. Both of those were generated using the scripts that we ran in the beginning of this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove everything out of this sample file, and I'm only going to keep the 3 documents that we have created since I started this video. So we'll go ahead and just save that. Let's go back to the terminal, and let's go ahead and start that slideshow again with /pi-display. Go ahead and press return. It does take it about 3 seconds to start. And the first thing you'll see here is that weather file that we created, and this one I believe we told it to stay on the screen for about 15 seconds. So in 15 seconds it's going to go ahead and open up the next slide, and there it is. Now I believe that's the one we created with the Markdown generator script. And I noticed that it did not open the third tab. So probably what I've got going on here, let's stop the slideshow for a minute. And I'm going to guess that in this links directory, or in this links file right here, yep, I was afraid of that. I forgot to put a blank line right down here at the bottom. If you don't put that blank line, it will not grab the last file in that list. So I'm just going to add a blank line here at the bottom. Save that, and let's try starting the script again, and just make sure that it's grabbing all three of those files. So we should see the weather, then the test for video.html, and then that winter field day 2023 PDF file that we created using LibreOffice. So first one up is that weather.html that's on the screen. I believe, what was that, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that. Then we're going to the test for video.html. You can see that right up here in the top. And finally, the Winterfield Day 2023.pdf file that we created. So that should cover all of the basics for getting the Pi display up and running. I hope you guys enjoy using this. If you do, leave a comment in the description. I hope you guys enjoy using the Pi display. If you would, leave me a thumbs up and maybe a comment down below and let me know how you're utilizing it. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, 7-3.